Husbands, love your wife, even as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. Hello, welcome back again to another beautiful day. God bless you, and I'm sure that you are doing quite well. So, an interesting topic it is. I want to address a very important issue here. Love is not a feeling. Love is not words. Love is action. So when you want to show your wife that you love her, you don't just say it, you act it. So a lot of time, husbands will say, I love my wife, and she knows it. I don't know why she's complaining. The reason she's complaining is that you keep saying all those things, but the things you do are contrary to what you say. How can you love a woman and the both of you are workers or maybe business people, and you go out almost at the same time in the morning, you come back maybe at the same time. Sometimes the man even comes back before the wife, yet you will not help her to do anything in the house. I want to ask you, did you actually marry a wife, or is she a slave? I will always say that even when you say somebody is a slave also have some kind of rights compared to how some husbands live with their wives. And that gives me a lot of thought. And that is why we have to talk about this. She wakes up very early in the morning. You are still snoring in the bed. Or sometimes you are even awake. Maybe you are checking your DMs, you're checking some business requests that have come in, and she's busy trying to make breakfast, put heat water for you to bathe and all of that. Most times you even run off from the house saying you are late, depending on whether you are doing a salary job or you are a business person. But what I'm emphasizing here is that you can't love a woman when you can't help her. You don't keep telling me I love you, but the things that we are supposed to do as partners, you leave all of them to me. Now let me ask you, who says it is in the place of a woman to do all of the chores in the house? Tell me where it is written. Where has it become an abomination for you to help yourself? Love, the Bible says, love your neighbor as you love yourself, meaning interpreting it that whatsoever you know that when somebody does it to you, you feel better, or when you do it to yourself, you feel so much better. Do that same thing to your neighbors. But when you come to your wife, she's like a slave. Do you really want to kill this woman? She does the job in the office or in the business place, comes back to the house and continues with the chores in the house. You cross your leg and watch the football. You won't give her a helping hand. You will not also employ a maid that may be coming and going to help out. And when she talks, you say she's too lazy. Some men even go as far as saying, I don't eat same food twice. Who does all of those stress? Cooking, going to the market, shopping, doing every other thing. It is the woman. Who says it's an abomination for a man, for a husband to cook in the kitchen? Who says so? You know, sometimes I will say that it is the fault of the parents if their sons are unable to do chores. But when they are grown and you have grown from being a child to being a teenager, from being a teenager to an adolescent, from being an adolescent to a big full-fledged adult, up until the point you are planning to get married, who was the one doing all of those chores for you in the house? Can you sincerely answer that question? Who washes your clothes? Who cooks for you? Are you telling me that you go all about to every bukateria, eating from one place to another? Of course, if you do that, if that was what you were doing before you get married, it means you have wasted millions of naira just putting food into your mouth. Food you would have bought and kept in your house and cooked them to your own taste. And that is the reason why by the time you get married, your wife becomes a slave. Some people, their parents have given them proper training, including how to do chores by themselves. But by the time they get married, they decide to be the man of the house. That feeling. Because they have ego problem, because they have an identity problem. And you feel that by the time you try to help your wife out to do chores in the house, you have become a weakling. Yes, that is what they call it in Africa. And I so much hate that Africa's mentality. Is that what heaven have ordained it to be? Is that what the people, I don't know. It is sickening. Now let me get down. For men that got married to women that do not know how to cook, because this thing is vice versa. There are ladies that were brought up in a home where maybe all their life it is house help, maids, and so many employees to do so many things for them. But that by the time they get married, their husbands are not able to provide such helps for them. And they tend to cook nonsense. Tomorrow it is salty, next tomorrow it's pepperish. The other time the water for the soup is not properly cooked. The rice, when it cooks, is half done. If it's not half done, it's burnt. You just name it. And you as the man, you are properly raised. You can cook. Instead of you, rather than complaining that this woman keeps cooking nonsense, keep giving me poison, and you keep eating out. It is not an abomination if you will teach your wife how to cook. Yes. And that is what informed this topic, men in the kitchen. Instead of eating out all of the time, let me tell you, the truth of the matter is that the money you spend in eating out, if you convert it, you will know that you spend much more eating out than when you buy food in stock and cook in the house. It is very, very less cost effective. I think that's the word I should use. It is very economical. If this woman doesn't know how to cook, brother, husband, please teach your wife how to cook. If you have all the time on earth, you have Saturdays, you have Sundays. Depending on what you are doing, I keep saying, if you are a businessman, you can actually dedicate 1-2 hours just to teach your wife how to cook some certain things. Instead of you spending money outside eating, or you keep tormenting her, torturing her with your negative comments, because that will not make her to what? Grow. If you don't also have that time, you can employ one of your siblings to do it. And of course, you know that when you do that, that your wife may not even feel free to learn, depending on whom she is. You can go as far as getting somebody from a cafeteria, employ that person for like 1 week. Let him teach your wife those basic foods that you so much love and the way you like them. And she will learn. It is not an abomination for you, a husband, to help your wife to do chores or to cook for your wife and your children. It does not make you less of a man, but rather it makes you more of God's own man. So, when you are relying on the African mentality, you remember it's a mentality, just like when you feel somehow, which may not be right, you will just end up tearing your home apart. Teach her, help her. Both of you are helpmate. That's what the Bible calls it. You are helping her, she's helping you. You are bringing something to the table, she is bringing something to the table. And that is what makes marriage. You complement each other. Where she is weak, you are strong and you help her in that area. Where you are weak, she is strong and she helps you in that area. So that we don't have women that looks older than their age because of the number of chores they have to go through every now and then, including the emotional, the psychological, the societal pressure is just too much on the wife. Husbands, love your wife. That is why I defined love before now. It is not what you say. It is not what you buy for her. It is what you do. When you tell your wife, honey, I love you, you tell it to her like 10 times, that's a reassurance. But it is far much better when you act it. Please, help your wife to live a better life. You go outside, you see other people's wives looking very young and smart, but your own is looking worn out because you have teared her into pieces with so much burden. Do the house chores. Some days let her rest, you do it. Some days she's doing it, you are helping her. Both of you complement each other so that you can live good life. I'm not seeing you looking so smart and your wife is looking so haggard, and you are walking at the front, she's at the back. If you are going to go out in your car, you give her excuses why you are going to leave her behind. No, I have a meeting, I have to catch up. You can come and join later. But deep down in your heart, it is because of her presentation. So even if she wears the most expensive clothing and jewelries and everything, she doesn't look anything near to that woman or those women that doesn't even wear any of these things. That's because the difference between how you treat her and how the husbands of these other women treat them is totally different. Stop lying down on your bed and waiting for the woman to go to the market and come back and cook for you to eat. You are not helping matters. And the beautiful thing is that when your children grow up seeing daddy helping mommy, they too, they learn from it. And your sons will not be burdened to other people's daughters by the time they get married to them. Your daughters will not be burdened to other people's sons by the time they get into a relationship. But rather by the time they settle down, they come back to thank you and say, Mommy, thank you for training my husband very well. Thank you for training my daughter very well. Daddy, the same thing, and vice versa. Remember the golden rule. Whatsoever you want others to do for you, you do it for them too. So men, it is not abominations for you to be in the kitchen. And that, I mean everything I have said before now. God bless you as you take charge of your home from today. See you.